So I'm Shannon Anderson, and as most women, I tend to define myself by the things I love to do and the people in my life. So I guess I should say I've been married for 30 years to a great guy named Steve, and 7 of those have been the best years of my life. I think the 3 things I wanted to get across tonight when you're thinking about the talent advisor. So moving from being an order taker to like a really sort of an equal partner on the business side is something that unless you've gone to business school, unless you've had some sort of formal training, it's often hard for us as recruiters because we've always been seen as kind of transactional order takers. Like, I'm a hiring manager, you're a recruiter, you're supposed to do what I say. Sometimes we send hiring managers surveys and we ask them, how did we do? And you know, it's like, well, wait a minute, how did I do? You mean, did I make you happy? Did you like me, or did I solve your problem? And so I think the first thing to really think about is showing up differently, right? Showing up to the meeting as a business person and not as an order taker. I think that's the first thing. The second thing is, maybe the first thing, is actually remembering the company is our client, not the hiring manager. So we're always getting confused about that, right? But if you step back and you think about it, what the hiring manager wants is not always what's right for the company. And if we don't keep that in mind, we're going to be driven by the desires of a single person at the cost of what's right for the rest of the company. And then, like I said, showing up differently, kind of choosing to show up as a consultant and leading the process versus being reactive and letting the process drive us. And then the third point is bringing the right data. Bringing the right data to the boardroom, speaking to the people in your boardroom, using the language that they use, the business terms that they use. Whatever it is, we have to show up bringing the data that tells them the story we need them to hear, not just a spreadsheet with a bunch of numbers. I think those are the 3 key things that will help make that transition. So a service level agreement really is kind of a contract between you and me, and what you're going to do, what I'm going to do, the consequences that will occur if one of us doesn't do what we're supposed to do. I didn't do that with this hiring manager. I didn't say, okay, I'm going to bring you 3 candidates and you're going to pick one. And if you don't pick one, then I'll bring you 3 more and you'll pick one. And if that doesn't happen, then we're going to stop the search. We're going to take a break, and we're going to look at what are the patterns. I didn't do anything like that. I just kind of kept iterating on it without really having a plan with him. So, so that was an example of, I was trying to be a business consultant. I was trying to really get deep into his business. But I wasn't able to get the result because I didn't set up the expectation for how things were going to go.
So when you think about setting sort of SLAs or requirements with different executives in the company,
yeah,
doesn't that differ depending on whether it's the CEO or the CFO or the COO? Can you maybe talk a little bit about what the different executives might care about?
Yes. So that sort of brings around the point of bringing data to the boardroom. And when you think about it, when you're showing up to a meeting with a hiring manager or anybody in your organization, your manager, your CEO, the CTO, you really want to show up as if you are going to be the CEO yourself one day. You want to think about having a conversation with people with that frame of mind, even if you never want to be. When you're talking to a CEO or somebody in a business management role about your recruiting metrics, for example, I know a lot of us, we hear data, bring data. Data is not a spreadsheet full of numbers that doesn't have any conclusion. CEOs really want to know how we're making progress. I've been spending a lot of time with CEOs for the last few years, and they're always focused on where are we now versus where we want to be. I want to see progress, and if I don't see progress, I want to know why, and I want to know what we're going to do about it.
What about CFOs?
CFOs want to know how much we're spending, right? They want to know how much we're spending and why. And they want to know about return on investment. They want to know what is the return on the investment that we're making. And CFOs really like to look at not just the data of how much did you spend on an ad, but they also want to know what are the man hours that we're putting into something, or the person hours, I like to say. And what are the other costs that are not maybe directly associated that are adding to those costs? So CFOs want to know why, and they want to know where we are against budget spend, right? CEOs are more comfortable with general trends. They need to be able to click down, and you need the footnotes, but they're probably not going to look at them unless they see discrepancy with your numbers. CFOs have a big appetite for a high level of accuracy, and they will click down. So you always want to be prepared for that. I always find that the HR folks want to know, who's on the bus, and who needs to be on the bus, and who needs to get off the bus. As an HR person, you really want to deeply understand the business that you're in. You want to understand who your customers are, why you serve them, what are the complexities in serving them. And then you want to figure out who's on the bus, make sure that as people get onto the bus, they can get as productive as possible, as soon as possible. And then you want to be able to measure the return on investment of those people. And if you're not getting a return in an expected amount of time, off the bus.
Okay.
I'm always throwing people on the bus, and then after that, But now at Madrona, as a person with a seat at the table, and I'm an investor now, I do care who's on the bus, and I do care if they're performing well, and I do want to make sure that we do everything we can to make them successful or off the bus.
Nice. So I'm just going to recap.
Yep.
So the three things that you told us about moving beyond being an order taker. The company is our client, not the hiring manager. Try to avoid letting the hiring manager give you the runaround.
Yep.
Okay? Show up like a business person. Lead, drive.
Yep.
Okay? Bring the right data. Tune it to the ears of your audience. Okay?
Yep.
All right.
That's it.